What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, and it is that time of the day. It is time to pick the bones of what happened yesterday at Molineux. 4-2 defeat. I was there at the ground. You were obviously here on the watch along, but
getting it from all angles.
Equally as frustrating wherever you were watching that game yesterday. I mean, I'm just so tired of all this, man. I really am. Watching these kind of performances, watching these stupid mistakes happen, a manager that can't really change anything, what's happening on the pitch. I mean, just everything is just shambolic right now. A fan base, you know, I was at the ground yesterday and people were just resigned to it from the beginning. I walked down at the concourse after 25 minutes. It felt like there were more people on the concourse just having a laugh and drinking as opposed to watching the football yesterday. It didn't seem like anyone cared about the football yesterday. And at the end of the game, you know, the players some of the players came over and they were applauded by the fans after the game. Whereas in previous weeks, it's been the players coming over after such a disastrous defeat have been met with kind of more animosity. But it feels like the fans have just completely given up now.
What do you prefer? Do you prefer animosity?
I mean, I would prefer neither, to be honest. I prefer just to see my team win and to feel pride and a sense of pride of watching my team. And that is long gone, to be honest. That is completely long gone. And now we're 17 losses in to the season. Can't really tell you where our next win is coming from. We're just so lucky. We're so lucky that the teams in the relegation zone are as poor as they are, because if they weren't, we'd have a genuine chance of getting relegated this season. That was my key takeaway of yesterday.
Yeah, so yesterday was just so disastrous. I've never seen a team give away the goals that we gave away yesterday before, like so many in one game. Every goal was just an absolute disaster. Like, it's inexplicable, the goals we conceded yesterday. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Obviously, if you watch the watch along, I couldn't, honestly, I was just like failing to compute what was going on that football pitch was some of the decisions for the goals that was happening. Just complete brain loss moments on that pitch yesterday. And and the most frustrating thing of it all was every time it happened, pretty much every time it looked like we were going to get back in the game. It looked like, okay, maybe we got a chance of getting back in the game and we would do something more stupid than the last moment. We would do something like it's like the players tried to outdo themselves.
Yeah.
It's like he's like, you think that was bad? You watch this. And that was basically what was happening yesterday. It's like, I can top that. I can top that in terms of mistakes. It was actually laughable a lot of like yesterday. I mean, a lot of our defeats this season have just been like really frustrating and like not being able to break teams down and just like being caught out on counters and stuff. But yesterday was just like, it was like a slapstick comedy. Some of the mistakes yesterday, it was incredible the level of mistakes we were making yesterday.
Yeah, I was saying yesterday on the way home to Brighton, whoever. The people who run the circus, Zippo Circus, would have been proud of that performance yesterday, because that's exactly what it was.
It's like Laurel and Hardy.
It really was. Like, literally, I don't know what happened to Vicario yesterday, but he just put in an absolute stinker.
Yeah.
From minute one, pretty much. Obviously, the goal, he kind of hits it out, and then like he just stands there with the whole rest of the goal just completely open. I don't know why he's not like step footing and making himself into the middle of the goal or something. Like, what's he doing?
I completely agree. Before I'll get into that. Before we get into the game, though, just on the lineup, did you have any problems when you saw the lineup, or were you like okay?
I mean, look, I said I want to prioritize the game on Thursday. This game in itself didn't really mean too much, but I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was a bit silly to play Maddison after he's played so much over the past. He's played 3 games in a row now, and like we've been managing him all season, saying he can't play 2 games in a week, and then suddenly, with our biggest games of the season coming up against Frankfurt, we're starting to overplay him. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, it's a bit odd why at this point. Maybe he feels like he's in a good rhythm or something, but I thought in the first half he played fairly well, but then he definitely dried up in the second. But yeah, I think apart from the Maddison one, I guess who else do you leave him out for? Whether it be Bergval, who's also going to start on Thursday. We had Decky there, but is he ready to start? Unless you want to play Bentancur. with him, with Basuma, but then you'll get criticisms of not having any creativity. So I don't know who you leave him out for, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the bench. It's just slim pickings, isn't it? I wouldn't have minded if he started with Bergvall, maybe brought on Madison, and maybe played them 45 minutes each. Or something
I would
like
like to see something like that.
But look, apart from that, I didn't really have too many problems.
It's what we actually predicted.
Apart from Madison, yeah.
Yeah, that was the only one we.
I didn't have too many problems with the lineup. It's just about how they managed it on the pitch. That's what I had the problem with.
Yeah.
And yeah, look, we can go through every goal and probably just laugh at every single situation. Like the first goal, like I said before, like Vicario
90 seconds in.
And like that's another thing I was saying to Brian on the way in, just can we just please not concede a big chance in the opening 5 minutes?
It wasn't even a big chance. It was just a shit goal. You know
it's
what I
like
mean?
Vicario punches it out, and he just then after punching it out, and he sees a Wolves player's Aït-Nouri's got it on the edge of the box or just inside the box, wherever it was. He just stands there.
It wasn't even a good effort. Like
he just hits it into the ground and it bounces into the goal.
Didn't have that much power on it. Like
I just don't get it.
I think if you watch it back, first of all, it was a poor punch from Vicario. He was complaining about something. I watched a replay. I don't know what he's complaining about because there's nothing really wrong with it from a Wolves point of view. Then Aït-Nouri's shot kind of bounces, and I think from what I can see, I think Vicario for sure should be saving that shot 100%. I think the reason why he doesn't is because Ben Davies is standing right there, and I think either distraction makes him hesitate for that slight second, and that means his dive doesn't quite make it, and the ball ends up in the back of the net. But that shot should not be going in. It's a weak effort. I know it kind of bobbles into the net, and it's so soft. It was a poor punch as well from Vicario, and then he doesn't save the effort as well. It's just so sloppy all round from Tottenham as well. Aït-Nouri's free on the edge of the area, and that should also not be happening. He should be put under a bit of pressure, albeit he does take it on the volley. It's not like he had time and space to line up a shot. He volleys it, but I think it's just the softest goal you can imagine. And again, right at the start of the game, we're conceding either a chance or a goal essentially, and happened again in this one.
Yeah, very, very frustrating. And then he nearly gives away another goal, like very soon after.
Yeah,
wasn't it? Like,
yeah,
just that stupid playing out the back.
I don't know who he's looking at. I don't know who he's aiming for.
Most stupid of passes. And then, I mean, Strand Larsen misses a gilt-edged chance, really. He should have put that in the back of the net.
Yeah, he's on the floor, and he tries to hit it on the floor, and luckily for us, he hits it wide. But again, Vicario, I don't know. I understand you're trying to play it short and stuff, but you have to aim it for someone. You have to try and pass it to a Tottenham player. I don't know who he's trying to pass it to. I've seen it a few times, and I can't work out where he's trying to pass it, what player he's aiming at, because there's not really a player near that pass where he gives it to. Like, who is he aiming for there? I don't know who. It's bizarre. Like, if there's no one there, then you boot it. Like, you don't just I understand. You know, he's been told you have to play it short, but I don't think he's been told play it short to know if no one's there. Yeah. Like, you have to play it to someone. Yeah, like, you don't just. I don't know who he's aiming at. I was just got it completely wrong.
Romero is in the box there, and he does have the opportunity. A player of his level, you expect him to do better defensively, but it's just awful from Vicario. And all day long, he was just flapping at things. He didn't look comfortable throughout the whole 90 minutes, and. Yeah, and he smashes it into Spence for that second goal as well.
Yeah, but what's so frustrating is after that moment, because that moment was Larsen 5 minutes in, it could have been 2. We got away with it, and then we did get a bit of a foothold in the game. Basuma started to dominate in that middle. I thought he was actually having quite a good first half, despite the fact he got booked really early on. He was looking.
Well, with Basuma, I thought he was shocking for the first 5-10 minutes. But then after that kind of initial Wolves pressure, I agree. He did grow in the game and
had that shot.
He had that shot. Yeah, he did start playing well. Don't get me wrong, but we still need a bit more. And maybe it was more players around him. But I was actually praising Basuma in that moment in the game. But then we go 2-0 down.
I'm saying, we got a fold in the game. Basuma started to dominate a bit. Like, I think Brennan had a chance, Solanke had a chance, kind of half chances, but they're still creating a few openings. I thought. Tell was looking a bit brighter. I thought Madison was I think Madison and Basuma, I thought in that period were really playing quite well. And then kind of against the run of play, out of nothing really, Aït-Nouri comes flying down the left. His cross just gets looped up in the air. And what I don't understand is it gets looped up in the air and everyone's just watching it.
Romero.
He's just watching it. He's just watching it. And it's like, like, you know, you're the centre back, you have to deal with that, you know. He's just like watching it and like, I ain't going near that.
But you look how lazy Romero is in that moment. Romero is the one that's supposed to be closest to where the ball's landing. And he's just looking around him.
Just switching off.
Just being like, oh, you know what? The ball's just going to land there, whatever. All right, cool. All right, we'll just let them have a chance. That's literally what Romero is doing.
And we kind of, but the thing is, it loops up in the air and it lands to, I think, Munetsi. And we actually kind of get away with it at that point because he doesn't really make contact with it. And you think, okay, we got away with it. It's just going to go through to Vicario. And Vicario just panics for no reason. He actually doesn't have. He could let that go out for a goal kick. He could catch it. He could do whatever he wants.
Go into his arms and he could just simply just hold the ball.
He just completely panicked in that moment. He's like, for some reason, he's like, I need to push this away for no reason. That's actually, there's not even any Wolves player near him, really. Like, if he doesn't touch it, nothing bad's going to happen. And he panics, he pushes it right into Spence. It just bounces off Spence. Spence tries his best to recover it, and it just goes into the back of the net.
You know why he's doing that? It's obviously a wrong decision to do that, but he panicked because I think he's already jumping when it looks like Strand Larsen could potentially get there. I think that's why he panics.
Yeah, I get it, but he completely panicked.
Yeah.
In that situation. It's just like, it's just crazy how like, this, I know that it looked like maybe Larson get onto it, but he wasn't going to get onto it, and they had so many more options. He pretty much did the only thing that could have caused their own goal, and that's the thing he did.
Just smashes the ball into Jed Spence. Jed Spence can't do nothing, and the ball goes into the back of the net. It was just so frustrating. And you know what? Like, Vicario's mum and dad was sitting 2 rows in front of me.
Oh, they must have been. Oh god,
they were sitting 2 rows in front of me, and at that moment, Vicario's mum just sat down and, you know, with everyone standing up around her, and looked like she wanted like just the ground to swallow her up or something. Just
feel bad
seeing her son, you know, just putting a bit of a stinker.
And also, it wasn't just that; it was the whole game, wasn't it? The fans were getting on the back. Not Spurs fans, the Wolves fans were taking the piss. They were doing the oi whenever he got the ball. Like, they were really doing ironic cheers whenever he caught a ball and everything like that. So it must have been really hard for them, like watching basically their son getting taken the piss out of by the fans pretty much. That's the whole
exactly
game.
What happened. Yeah,
yeah. So I
it
feel
was
bad
hard to watch it, to be fair, like, because literally it was just same seat as me, 2 rows in front.
Yeah, which is not nice to see, and especially considering as well, like, since he's come back from injury, he's been pretty decent by and large, apart from a few moments, and it was uncharacteristic how bad he was. I mean, he's had some moments in his Spurs career like that, but not so many in one game, I think. Probably.
Yeah, I feel like when he first came back from injury, he was brilliant. But I feel like these kind of, not as bad as that, but kind of these traits are kind of slipping into his game last couple of weeks.
Well, against Chelsea, he had some nervy moments, it's fair to say. And in this game as well. So I think in those 2 games, I agree.
Yeah.
So it wasn't great. But it was just so annoying to go 2-0 down out of nothing like that when it was against run of play. Not like we were playing brilliantly. I'm just saying we were probably the ones looking, again, more likely to score the equaliser than Wolves getting a second. But we just have this tendency, whenever we look like we're in the game, we just give them a goal, like out of nothing. And it just happened again. It's happened time after time after time this season. And we give ourselves, again, a mountain to climb going to that second half. We didn't make any half-time subs, did we? I think it was on the hour.
They came on the hour mark. Bergvall and Bentancur came on for Basuma and Sarr, and, you know, we started to show a bit more. Bergvall was getting on the ball, driving forward, and that's where our goal came from.
I think, I reckon if Basuma wasn't booked, he probably would have stayed on.
Yeah, potentially, because he was one of the better players on the pitch.
He was making a few fouls, and then you could see maybe he could have been sent off.
Yeah, I thought he might have been taken off at half time just because of that early booking. I mean, how many times though does Basuma get that early booking?
I know, so often.
So frustrating.
And
actually, he's playing badly or well.
And I thought Bentancur was not much better when he came on, to be honest.
No, he wasn't. And yeah, I don't think Sarr played well by any. I mean, Sarr put in an anonymous display, to be honest, in the middle of the park. But, you know, Bergvall comes on, Bentancur comes on. Bergvall straight away starting to charge at them, starting to quicken the tempo as he always does. And that's where our goal comes from, with him charging down that right-hand side of the pitch, gets the ball to Johnson. Johnson puts in a nice cross for finally. And I don't know, Tell don't know not much about it, but the ball goes into the back of the net.
Definitely a bit of luck about it, for sure, because I think Semedo is there. He should be clearing it. I think he tries to like back heel it or something, and he just gets it all wrong. It just kind of hits Tell and goes in. I mean, I'd like to think that if Tell kind of saw it coming, he would have put it away anyway. But definitely an element of luck to it, but I would say it was quite a nice move. So, you can earn your own luck, you could say. But I think at that point, we got the goal. We kind of deserved to get back in the game. We looked like we were probably we should have scored at some point in that game. We were kind of dominating, albeit I actually thought we didn't start the second half great, and that goal probably came more against run of play than it would have been in the first half, I would say. But we got the foothold, and you think, all right, 2-1, half an hour to go, whatever it is. There's a lot of time left in this game. We can really get back in this game, you're thinking, at that point. And
Tottenham hold my beer. 5 minutes later, we're 3-1 down again.
And just inexplicable. Inexplicable from
That's
Romero.
the one with Romero. What is Romero doing? Romero just seemed like for the whole day he just didn't want to be on that pitch.
Didn't understand
how
what
can
he's
you
doing.
how can you look as lazy and as slow and as disinterested as Romero looked yesterday while wearing the badge of Tottenham Hotspur? I think it was an absolute disgrace of a performance from Romero yesterday. It really was. I mean, what is that defending for that third goal? What is he doing?
And you know what? He did something similar, I pointed out, against Chelsea when the ball comes over the top. He's in full control of the situation. Yeah. And he just allows the opposition player to get the better of him. Did it against Jackson. Jackson just bullied him off the ball. Luckily, nothing really came of that one. But this one, it was completely fatal because he's got an option. Either pass it back to Vicario, put it out for a throw, dribble it away, dribble it down the line to and clear it down the line. He had so many options, and you can see the ball goes over the top, and of course once Romero gets ahead of his man, all the defenders stop because they think, okay, Romero's going to deal with this, and then all of a sudden, Aïnouri just steals in. Like, Romero just leaves the ball. It's like he wanted to chop to the left, but he just left the ball behind. He just forgot to take the ball with him. And Aïnouri was like, all right, I'm going to just steal in here. And as soon as he steals in there, Larsson's just there to tap him the empty net. I was watching Match of the Day and I was looking at their analysis, and they were kind of digging out Jed Spence for that moment. I thought it was a bit harsh because you could see, yes, Jed Spence, I guess as a defender, you could argue, should Spence be thinking about the worst possible outcome, which would have been Romero losing the ball, and that means he should have been closer to Larsson. But you can't expect Romero to just gift Aïnouri a moment in on goal there. I think Jed Spencer's already thinking about getting back up the other way because he's thinking we've won the ball back.
I mean,
but
Romero
should
has
be
no
dealing with
right
that.
to lose the ball there. He's complete favourite to take that ball. And
he has it. I think he has the ball,
He pretty much has it, yeah, pretty much.
He has the ball.
No
he should
right.
never be being robbed there.
No right whatsoever to lose the ball in that situation. And you can say what you want about Jed Spence, but that goal is all on Cuti Romero. All on Cuti Romero. And like I said before, an absolute disgrace of a performance from him yesterday. A disaster class. And I can't remember the games off the top of my head, but Romero, whenever he seems to be wearing a captain's armband, he never seems to perform well. And I don't know what that's down to. I just, generally, it just baffles me how that happens. I just don't get it.
I don't know about specifically when he's wearing the captain's armband, but definitely.
And even so, like, forget previous games. Like, if you're wearing a captain's armband, how the hell can you look so disinterested as you looked yesterday? You know what? Never even mind wearing a captain's armband. Just putting on the shirt for Tottenham Hotspur. It's an absolute disgrace. I'm sorry. It really is.
And it was shocking. It was absolutely shocking. That should never be happening. And most centre-backs in the league would be able to deal with that situation comfortably. And the fact he not only allowed that to turn into a chance, he just basically allowed it to turn into a goal and just gave him a goal. Especially when we've just got back in the game a couple of minutes later, we need to we look like we can maybe build some momentum in this game. And that third goal really kind of knocked the stuffing out of us, I felt. You could see once that third goal went in, everyone was like, for God's sake, like, it's happened again, essentially. And you could see it really changed the kind of mood of the team. I think for those few minutes after we scored, we were, we had them camped in a bit. It looked like we were really, really putting them under a bit of pressure. And we just allowed them a route back to that 2-goal lead. It was so frustrating watching it, how it played out. And I mean, with 5 minutes to go, we did kind of get something. We got a goal from a corner,
which Romero actually nearly scored. He hit the bar, didn't he?
To be fair, that was an unbelievable save from Sarr to stop Romero scoring.
Did it hit the bar or was it a save?
Both. He tipped onto the bar.
Right.
It was an unbelievable save, but unlucky for him, Richarlison put it home. and made it 3-2. You think, all right, 5 minutes plus stoppage time. Is there anything? Maybe there's a chance we can get back in this game again. Maybe we can snatch a 3-3 draw. Who knows? Maybe we can again build something. But again, it's like we refuse to let ourselves back in the game. It's like we're just our own worst enemy.
This one was the worst.
This one was
the worst of the lot because it was a minute after. It was literally the next minute after scoring. I don't know what Bergval's doing in that situation.
Yeah, I know.
He's
got all these players around him. He's got Romero, he's got Davis, he's got, even ahead of him, he's got Bentancur. And he decides to try and dribble for no reason. There's no reason to try and dribble past Cunha there. There's literally no reason to do it. He's so easily just pass it around him. What does he even achieve by dribbling past him there? Where does he go? What does he achieve by doing it? It's not like he opens a space. He opens up just as much space by passing it. So there's no reason for him it's just a real brainless decision for him. And maybe you put it down to his inexperience or whatever. But there's no reason for him to try and dribble past when Cunha has basically got he's won around 4 Tottenham players. So what is he even thinking trying to dribble past him in that situation? The ball gets nicked off him, and I think Davis as well. I know he's got to wipe him out or something. Maybe he gets sent off, he wipes him out, but he's got to be. He looks favourite for that ball. I don't know how he loses out to Cunha. He dives in, and Cunha nips in, and 1-on-1. It's 4-2. And again, we shoot ourselves in the foot. It's amazing how many bullets we have to keep shooting ourselves in the foot. But we have plenty of bullets, apparently, plenty of ammunition. We can reload as many times as we want because we don't stop shooting ourselves in the foot, especially in this game. It's just unbelievable the mistakes we were making. And once we went 4-2, that was it.
They weren't serious yesterday, this club, man. They were not serious. And being there in the away end, it was just like, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. It's just like, whenever you think that they can't surprise you, this team, they surprise you with how bad they can actually be. And all 4 of those goals that we conceded were absolute shambles.
Just disasters. Like, Wolves didn't really have to do anything for any of those goals.
No.
Literally. No. I'm thinking about the goals. Like, what did they have to do for any of those goals? Nothing.
Yeah, no, and we were lucky that they probably didn't score more from our mistakes as well. Like, particularly that one at the beginning with the Vicario cock-up. So I don't know what to say anymore, but like Romero,
he went down the tunnel apparently.
Yeah, he did. I was watching him. Literally, I was watching him. I was like, I was watching him so close. Like, which one of you lot are going to be able to face the away fans after that? Romero, I was looking at him straight away, and he goes up to João Gomez or Andre, I can't remember which one it was, starts arguing with him, a bit of Brazilian and Argentinian rivalry, and then he just walks straight down the tunnel. Ange Postecoglou walks straight down the tunnel. The rest of them credit to him. Vicario comes over, Brennan Johnson comes over, Maddison comes over, Archie comes over. The majority of them came over apart from Ange and Cuti Romero pretty much. And Vicario comes over and gives his apologies to the away end. I mean, how many times have I seen that this season?
So many apologies have been given this season.
I'm just so fed up of seeing it. I'm just so fed up of seeing it. And the away fans actually applaud the players that came over, probably just because they had the balls to actually come over after that.
Or maybe all the toxic ones are maybe left by then.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. But yeah, it was just another absolute shambles of a day. Really was. I mean, look, we went into this game predicting a defeat, so it's not like a massive surprise that we lost. But I think it's just a manner of how the goals I couldn't envisage how bad
go down fighting, and we just didn't do that. Every time we got back into the game, we're just like, here you go. We don't want to win this game anyway. We'll just give you another goal and let's be done with it. The attitude from Romero was just disgusting in that game yesterday, and I can't get away from it. Like, how I just don't understand it. You're talking about a World Cup winner, double Copa America winner. We talk about him as he's got elite mentality. That's not elite mentality. What we saw on a pitch yesterday. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't mind, I would mind. I'd always mind when I see something like that. But we all talk about Romero being like a saving grace for us and one of our best players, and he is in terms of ability. But when you look at his season over the course of the whole season, he's not had a great season by any stretch of the imagination. He's had great moments in the season.
Agreed.
But in terms of his season, he's given away a lot of goals. He's shown those moments quite a few times. And yesterday topped the lot. Absolute shambolic display from Cuti yesterday and shambolic attitude. I think I was disgusted watching that.
Yeah, completely agree. And seems as though he's completely checked out of this club, to be honest. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised on Thursday he has a good game. I tell you why, because I feel like at the moment, obviously with the Europa League, that's what he's fighting for. That's the only thing we can win this season. And it seems as though for that game, maybe they can get themselves up for it because there's something on the line. But it seems as though they've got absolutely no interest in these Premier League games at the moment. They know the season's done. They know there's nowhere really to go in the Premier League this season. They do a lot of lip service, the players, about, we want to improve our Premier League form, blah, blah, blah. But it just seems as though that's all BS, to be honest. Because when we see them in the Premier League, it seems as though they've completely given up. They completely couldn't care less about these Premier League games, to be honest, and it seems like they're more than happy to let us slide towards whatever position, and because they know that winning these games is not going to make a difference to their career or whatever. I mean, yes, it might bump us up a couple places in the table, but for them, it's not going to help. They're being selfish in this moment, essentially, because it's not going to really help them too much. Apart from they'll be known as being part of the team that finished wherever Tottenham's lowest position, potentially in the Premier League era. So apart from that, which I don't think they really care about, that's more of a collective thing rather than an individual thing. I wouldn't be surprised on Thursday when they know a trophy's on the line. They could get, they know that if they win all these games, they get a winner's medal at the end of it. Yeah. That's about their career. That's about,
Yeah, but so Romero can be like, look at me, I've won the World Cup, I've won 2 Coppers, and now I've won the Europa League.
Correct, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's on it on Thursday, but in these Premier League games, it's disgraceful what we're witnessing at the moment.
Yeah, completely agree. And now that takes it to 17 losses this season. It's very likely that this could be our worst ever Premier League campaign. That's what we're going to right now, and that's what we're living through, which is madness to think about 6 years after moving into this stadium, after Champions League final, everything that we went through with Pochettino, having Conte through the door, Mourinho through the door, all these toxic areas where we're thinking, can it ever get worse than the Nuno era? And we're literally going to be going through our worst ever. It's very likely. I mean, I can't really see where, if those players are showing that kind of attitude in these games, then where the hell are we ever going to get points from this season? Where are the points going to come from? Because we ain't beating Forest at home. We ain't beating Liverpool away. West Ham away, they always turn up and play like prime Barcelona in their cup final. Palace at home. Palace are playing brilliantly this season. Villa away and Brighton at home. I mean, I can't see. Maybe we'll nick a few draws here and there in some of these games.
We don't draw games.
Well, we drew against Bournemouth a couple of weeks ago.
Very rarely. We don't really draw. We either win or we lose.
Yeah, I mean, how many draws have we had this season?
3, I think.
Is it only 3?
I think so.
But even so, I can still see us maybe potentially nicking a few, 1 or 2 draws regardless. Like, I can't see where our next win is coming from in the Premier League. I just can't see it.
Yeah, we've got some very tough games. I agree. And also the way we're clearly going, the way we're playing in these Premier League games, it's hard to see any points, to be honest, right now, when after what we've just been served up. And especially as well, depending on Thursday, if we stay in Europa League, if we're heavily rotating in all these Premier League games as well going forward, I can't really see too many other wins coming, to be honest. It's going to be very, very tough to see more wins coming from. And if it's true and that's what happens between now and the end of the season, we will finish 17th. That's the reality. And like I said before, we're so lucky that Ipswich, Leicester and Southampton are just so poor this season. We're just so lucky because we ain't going to... I don't think we're hitting 40 points. And that's usually like the barometer of saying, if you hit 40 points, you're safe. I don't think we're hitting 40 points this season. Well, we did 137.
Yeah.
There's a good chance we won't.
I know, and it's an absolute joke. And I just don't understand how this manager is still in the job. I just don't get it. Like, 17 losses in the Premier League this season, and this manager's still in the job. Like, what? I think this is probably the most protected manager that's ever been at Spurs.
By their very definition, he is. Because no one's ever... you could have said that in probably February or January, and it would have been true.
Yeah, and now he's just more and more and more and more. It's just madness how he's still in the job. It really is. I just don't get it. I'm just baffled. Like, you look at Daniel Levy and how quickly he's pulled the trigger on every other manager at the first sight of trouble. We've been in trouble pretty much since what? November, October, around that period. It's just been getting worse and worse and worse. Maybe with one performance sprinkled in here and there. How is this manager still in a job?
Yeah, it's baffling, to be honest, at this point. But I think he's obviously going to give him till we're out of the Europa League. That's what he's doing. Clearly.
If we lose on Thursday, he's got to be sacked.
He'll be.
After that game.
I'm fairly certain if we lose on Thursday, he'll be gone.
He has to. And I would have sacked him weeks ago. I would have sacked him months ago. But as each loss progresses, like I would have sacked him last night. You know what I mean? Like I can't see us going to Frankfurt and getting a result, even if we put in a better performance. It means nothing if you don't get a result. Putting in a better performance last Thursday against Frankfurt pretty much meant nothing because we're not taking a win there. It's just a draw.
Oh. Yeah, but at least we didn't lose, did we?
At least is that what we're clinging on to? At least we didn't lose.
Well, I'm saying it meant something. It meant we didn't lose.
Yeah, but that's not a positive. We all said before the game we need to take a win there. And we need to take minimum 2-goal lead.
Yeah.
And we're taking a draw to Frankfurt, where they're a brilliant side at home.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to have to win Thursday.
We are going to have to win. And can anyone see us actually going and winning?
It's tough to see it now.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, I was like encouraged by the performance last Thursday and thinking, you know what, if Frankfurt play like that and we play like that again, like maybe we can go through. But I don't know. These Premier League games are doing nothing for these players' confidence. Like they're running on.
But nothing has changed from that thought process from last Thursday.
Well,
what you said.
What's changed is that yesterday changed. Yesterday we conceded 4 goals to Wolves, a Wolves team that haven't scored more than 2 all season.
A heavily rotated team did though.
Well, yeah, but still, like when we play our first team, we're still losing in the Premier League. I know we beat Southampton, but that second half with more or less our first team put in an absolutely shambolic display and wanted to put everyone to sleep.
Agreed.
So I mean, I'm looking at the game on Thursday, and I feel like it's more like the players trying to get that trophy as opposed to any sort of work that the manager's doing on the training pitch or anything like that. I feel it's more players kind of just pushing it through and actually giving a shit, basically. They don't give a shit in these kind of games. And that's the problem.
Yeah, the way they're acting on the pitch. I mean, it's hard to say like people like Bergvall don't give a shit, but he was one who's making a mistake. The same with Vicario. He doesn't seem that type, but definitely Romero, it's quite easy to label him with that kind of accusation for sure, that he doesn't care, because we know the rumours of him wanting to leave and Atletico and all these kind of stuff. So kind of you can put 2 and 2 together and say he doesn't care at all. But look, I think Thursday, you just got to hope it'll be different. It'll be similar to how we played at home. And hopefully, if we can do that, we got a chance. We give ourselves a fighting chance. Not to say, even if we do, that we are going to go through anything. But I think the whole club knows and Ange knows it's do or die on Thursday, pretty much. So much rides on it. And then it's not just that. It rides on that. And then if we get through that, then it rides on the next round. If we get through that, then it all rides on the final. And that's where we are at the moment.
But you look at all these players as well, like that have been talking throughout the season and even in the last couple of months, you know, coming out with the fighting talk for the manager, saying we're believing what he's trying to do, and you know, this is the way we want to play, and you know, all that kind of garbage that they've been saying all season. They're not playing like that, are they? It doesn't seem like, you know, if you're really fighting for your manager, you'd be fighting for him in every game, not just, you know, the Europa League game.
I agree. That's what I'd like. Yeah,
they do not seem like they're fighting for him any straight. Maybe a couple of players here and there, but I'm talking about as a collective. They're not fighting for him.
We're in a rut. We're in a massive rut.
We've been in a rut all season.
We're in a rut right now, that's for sure. We've been in a rut for a while, for the last few months, and we can't seem to get out of it at all. And look, I don't think changing the manager for Thursday is going to make too much difference. I understand that they'll probably just keep it, and I think you might as well just keep it and give them that chance to get through. And if we don't, then it's over anyway. So it doesn't really make too much difference for me. I would say for Thursday. I think Would you rather all the change your manager and then try and implement some different way of playing, or try and maybe have a new manager bounce for Thursday, or just see if he can do it?
I've just lost all confidence in the manager. I lost confidence a long time ago, as you know, but I mean, he's doing nothing to suggest that he can get these players on board and he can go and win that competition. Nothing at all. And look, there's nothing to suggest that Matt Wells or Ryan Mason or anyone else coming in can do it. But sometimes, just fresh ideas and a fresh approach can galvanize the players and bring something extra out of the players. And, sometimes as well, when the manager goes, the players start fighting in a different way. So that's the only thing I'm saying. Maybe if that's the case, the players might react in a more positive manner from now to the end of the season. But I don't see how keeping Ange from now to the end of the season brings anything positive. At least if we change something, there's a possibility of maybe something positive.
Maybe. I mean, look, he's had the first leg. We played quite well, so maybe he's spotted a few things and maybe he can adjust. I don't know. That's all I'm thinking. We had the first leg, played quite well. And if we can do that again, we give ourselves a fighting chance, I think. If we change it, and we could get it horribly wrong. Maybe they're thinking we've got more chance we keep it than changing it.
Maybe, but I don't know. Well, he's staying anyway, so that's the reality.
He'll be there for Thursday.
He's definitely going to be there.
Do you think? What's it called? Do you think he gets sacked on that night if we go out?
I reckon the morning after.
Morning after.
If they even sack him. Like, what is the point anyway? Like, this, if we're at the Europa League, what are we gonna like? They might even wait till the end of the season.
They might do,
because the reality is, it's just like
this is what 5-6 Premier League games,
5-6 Premier League games of absolute nothingness. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing to play for. To finish 14th at best.
And Frankfurt had a nice 3-0 win yesterday at home to Heidenheim.
Who did? Frankfurt?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How many did Etike score?
Got one.
He got one. Yeah.
They seem to play a very strong team, but it was a nice, comfortable win they had at home. Probably exactly how you want to go into a Europa League tie.
Were they at home?
They were at home.
Well, we're going into the Lions Den Thursday night, and with the mentality that these players are showing, it doesn't fill me with much confidence and much hope. But when Thursday comes around,
all changes.
I'll be very excited, and I'll be bang on it, hoping and praying just for Spurs to win. But we'll see what happens, won't we?
That's the thing with football. When that game starts, anything can happen. You just never know. Maybe we'll turn it on for a game. It can happen.
And I'm praying for it. I'm praying for it. Nothing will delight me more than for Ange Postecoglou and the team to absolutely go and batter Frankfurt, go to the final and win it. Nothing would absolutely delight me more. But it's just a shame that I can't see it, and I've got no belief that it could happen.
Well, if we can play like we did last Thursday, we got a chance. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. But anyway, I think we had a super chat there. So
a lot of people trying to bait us into saying that Ange has been sacked, but I'm not seeing any news. I'm not seeing any news at the moment.
C9 Manic says, our defence depends on Vicario outperforming XG. What would you say to that?
Sorry, defence depends on Vicario outperforming XG. Definitely there's an element to that, because he definitely does. He's a brilliant saver. I would say early in the season, if you look at the numbers, it wasn't just about that. We were conceding very few chances. However, they were decent quality, but they weren't as many. Now it's just we're conceding a lot more chances. I don't think these ratings are right, because my one's a lot lower than that.
Yeah, so are mine. Let's go to a few comments then until we line up the player ratings.
Yeah, that's it. And went in knowing he'd be... What's that?
Dill says, "Oh, you bring one up.
What was
Go
it?
on.
Ange went in knowing he'd be a bit part player in a big squad. Levy is running it, and that's why the disconnect from Ange on the sidelines. He had little say, a figurehead for Flack."
I don't know about that. He's the manager, and he makes all the decisions on that. What happened on the pitch, anyway. So I mean, whatever you want to say about how bad the squad is and how bad the squad that we assembled is, it's nowhere near as bad as what we're showing to finish 17th in the Premier League campaign.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's
no
ridiculous.
excuses to be there.
There's no excuses to be here. Injury crisis or no injury crisis. There is no excuses whatsoever. How do you feel of the prospect of Frank or Glasner or any of these kind of managers? Because we've spoken about Frank, but maybe not Glasner.
Yeah, much. Glasner. I like Glasner. I think Glasner's probably better than some of the other managers we've been linked with, to be honest. I really like him. I think he's doing a phenomenal job at Palace. He did a phenomenal job at Frankfurt. And before that, he did a phenomenal job at Wolfsburg as well. So this guy is a very good manager.
I don't think as well the set of... Because I hear a lot of saying like, oh, but if we change managers, we're going to have to buy a whole new squad to suit his playing style. Do you not think that with the squad we have right now, it would suit that kind of playing style a bit more than the playing style that we've got now?
Potentially. He likes to play his kind of front three is very much like two number 10s.
Like a Conte.
So Eze and Elise.
Yeah.
Conte's a bit different. They're more like... They kind of flirt between the wide and
but he called them two number 10s.
He did call them two number 10s, but they're like Eze and Elise and whatever Sarr. They're very much, if you look at where they're lined up, quite close to Mateta, very central. Now I'm saying you could have maybe Maddison and Decky there, which would really work. But then it doesn't really... I don't know where Son would fit in if he stays. I don't know where Odegaard would fit in. I don't really know where Johnson fits in. He doesn't really play with proper wingers, and these guys, especially like Johnson, Odegaard, Johnson, I think Moore could maybe do quite well there. I feel like with Odegaard, Johnson, I don't know where they fit in that kind of, and Son as well. Maybe Son would be all right there actually.
Well, Son's like his creative ability has gone up so much recently. I think he would be all right there, and I think Odegaard as well could probably get to grips with that role as well.
In midfield. Maybe we can sign Wharton. That'd be nice. But Bentancur obviously knows how to play a double pivot. He's done well there. I think Bergvall could probably do quite well there.
Yeah,
I would say. Sarr potentially.
And you've also got pretty much we've got natural wing backs as well. Udogie and Porro and Spence can play that as well. In terms of the centre backs as well, you've got... we've got a number of centre-backs as well, with Vuskovic coming in the summer, Ashley Phillips getting rave reviews in the Championship. I mean, we've got more than enough centre-backs that would be able to play in a back three as well. So I actually feel like the squad that we have now is more suited to like a Glasner ball, even a Conte ball, than it is to like an Ange ball. And I feel like we've always been better this season on the transition anyway.
It could work. I like Glasner a lot. I think he's one of the better managers in the bottom half, or where who's maybe attainable. I think he's shown more than Iraola, Silva.
Do you think he leaves Palace though, like so quickly?
The only reason maybe is because they do tend to sell a lot of their players. Like if Eze leaves this summer, is he going to think like, how much better can I get this team kind of thing? So I do think there's a chance he would leave if the opportunity came.
So bring in Glasner and bring Eze with him.
Bringing Glasner and bring Eze with him. Yeah, sure. I wouldn't mind that. I guess. I like Glasner. I like him a lot.
Would he be your number one choice if Ange was to go? I think he might be mine,
Would he be my number one choice if Ange was to go? Yeah. I mean, it's not one that... again, it's not one that massively excites me as much as I like him. But I think he'll probably be a good appointment. But But again, will he last more than 2 years? Who knows? But I think he's a good,
Who
good
would
manager.
last more than 2 years?
Yeah, it's a good question.
What manager would excite you then? Because every manager that is thrown into the ring says they don't excite you. Which manager would excite you?
Someone who's
A Jurgen Klopp.
yeah, Jurgen Klopp.
Like, what realistic manager would excite you?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to get excited.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't know. Maybe no one would. Poch would
That's
excite
not
me.
even realistic, though, is it?
What about the Atalanta manager?
Gasperini,
Maybe.
would he excite you?
He would excite me. He would excite me.
But again, like, yeah, Gasperini's great,
Mm-hmm.
and he's done a great job at Atalanta. But
Consistently up there in the
yeah, it's
Champions
true.
Spots.
I just
playing
feel like
very attacking football.
yeah, but I just feel like Glasner would be a better fit for us than a Gasperini.
I think in terms of a better fit for the team, maybe a better fit for the club, maybe Gasperini would. Tadera's to do someone like that. But then again, could have been Ange. But I'm worried that Gasperini come in and people have he's so gung ho, high line, and then once we concede a few goals, people could get flashbacks to Ange.
Yeah,
but I would love someone like Gasperini. I think he's a top manager.
yeah, he is a top manager. I'm not going to lie. Definitely is. And look, if Gasperini was coming, I'd get excited. But I just feel like with the team that we have now, a Glasner is probably the best kind of fit. Someone like that. But who knows? And you know what? They play some good football, Crystal Palace. They really do. Attacking football. They're just like very defensively sound as well.
Yeah, I think he's done a top job. And the fact as well that it went so wrong at the early of the season, he's managed to recover it and, get them maybe to a top half finish potentially.
Yeah.
Without Olise. Very impressive.
People
very
in the comments
impressive.
Saying Carlo might
And he
be
won the
available.
Europa League as well. Glasner.
Yeah.
And he won Europa. Albeit apparently they finished like mid-table that year or something when they won it. They finished like 11th.
People are saying Carlo might be available.
Ancelotti. You know what? I think if he came here, he would be a disaster.
I kind of agree.
I think he would be an absolute disaster, I think, if he came here.
Why do you think that?
I think he's a great manager. I just think he needs top, like the best of the best. That's what he needs.
But he was starting to do well at Everton, wasn't he?
He did well. He did fine. He got them mid-table, which is fine for Everton. But it's not like he got them competing for Europe.
No, but he wasn't there for long enough. He might have done.
He was there for a year, maybe just over a year.
Yeah. So,
No,
I mean, he kind of
about a
jumped
year.
ship, didn't he?
He jumped ship. Yeah, they were happy with him. He did a fine job, I'm saying. But I just don't. I think he would come here, and
Didn't he beat Liverpool at Anfield with Everton?
in COVID times, I think. Yeah.
COVID times.
But I think
But I feel
Liverpool
like,
weren't great that year.
but you look at where they've gone since he's left. You know what I mean? They've been in relegation battles, and he was in mid-table with them.
Look, he's a great manager. I just think he would be a horrible fit for us. He'd be like Mourinho or something. He would get frustrated. He'd probably get us back competing for Europe, but yeah, I reckon he wouldn't get higher than like top 6 with us. I reckon.
All right, look, let's move on to our player ratings in the 4-2 defeat to Wolves on the weekend. Vicario up first, 2s all round for Vicario, and it was just a shambles from minute 1, to be honest. The first goal that we conceded, stupid punch out, and he doesn't shift his body or do anything to get in a good position to save the ball, and the ball goes in the back of the net. A few minutes later, terrible kick out, and it could have been 2-0. We could have been 2-0 down within the space of 5 minutes. And he just looked sloppy and dodgy and didn't fill anyone with any confidence throughout the game. And obviously the own goal happens, and it was totally his fault in that situation as well. So just a disaster day for Vicario.
Yeah, it was horrendous from him on the day. And look, it's probably his worst performance of the season. I thought he was absolute shambles. As you say, 2 of the goals, massively his fault. He was so lucky we didn't concede a third with his poor playing out the back as well. He looked nervous the whole game. The opposition crowd were taking the piss out of him the whole game as well. Really, really poor, nervous display from Vicario. Unlike him to be that poor, but unfortunately that's how bad he was.
Archie Gray up next. Sims gave him a 3. I gave him a 5. And to be honest, I'm not sure why I have given him a 5, because I didn't think he was any good throughout the game. But Yeah, he was just getting done on that side. I think he looked like a midfielder that was playing at right back, an 18-year-old midfielder that was playing at right back. That's what he looked like yesterday. And his one of the corners that he took, oh my God.
I don't know why he was on corners.
Yeah, I just don't understand it. It felt like one of the corners like Lo Celso, like what he was getting clowned on all those years upon for taking, just literally just curled into the first man, a Wolves player, and it was just a shambles really. And yeah, I mean, we all wanted to see Archie Gray play, but yeah, he looked a bit out of his depth yesterday.
Yeah, I think Ainuri was really causing so many issues. I think he struggled in that game, to be honest. He wasn't great on the ball. He wasn't great off the ball. It was just a bad day for him, to be honest. I think obviously maybe the drag down to the level of the team, but he didn't really link up well with Johnson. There was a couple of times, I think, in the first half, he overlapped Johnson and put in some decent crosses, but that was like few and far between. Other than that, he was just really struggling throughout the whole game.
Yeah, Coutinho Romero, Sim gives him a 3. I gave him a 1. And I was so angry with Romero yesterday, with his attitude, his application, his desire, his leadership ability. The guy had the captain's armband on yesterday, and it was the most disgusting display I've seen in a while from a Spurs player. And just so lazy, man. So lazy. He had his hand in multiple goals that we conceded yesterday. And I mean, I don't even want to go for everyone because they just disgust me. And you know, after the game, no recognition of the fans whatsoever that have travelled all that way to Wolves to watch him play and to support the team. And he just walks straight down the tunnel. And yeah, I mean, it's all going to come back to that third goal with that terrible, terrible defending where he had no right to lose it. He literally has the ball at his feet and Aït-Nouri just absolutely terrorises him. But just a shambolic day from Coutinho Romero all round.
Yeah, and yeah, the way we can see that third goal from him is completely unacceptable. Just loses concentration, just lazy, leaves the ball behind, and just basically gifts them a third when just as we get back in the game. And Romero, I thought, look, I didn't think it was all bad from him yesterday. I did think there were the moments where we looked like we were a bit on top. He was actually quite good, but when it really mattered, when the ball was, when they were. Basically, when we were getting back in the game and it really mattered for him to keep his concentration, he completely fell flat on his face too often. He obviously did have a header which he nearly scored from, which led to our second goal. But I just thought throughout the game, defensively, the second goal we conceded, just ball watching, just not concentrating, allowing that situation to fester. No communication at the back, just no leadership. And the fact that he didn't go over to the fans after the game as captain of the team is absolutely disgraceful. And he just looks like he just is checked out at the moment, and it's horrible to see, and it's unacceptable.
Yeah. Ben Davis up next. Sim gives him a 3. I gave him a 4. Needs to be defending much better from the fourth goal that we did concede because it looked like he was within his rights to win that ball. But like you mentioned before, if you don't win it, then hack the man down so they don't go on and score 100%. In the games like this, you know, you do kind of think that Ben Davis usually does keep up some sort of standards. Usually we call him, you know, reliable Ben, 6 out of 10 every time. But yeah, he was found wanting for the majority of the game.
Yeah, I thought he was poor. I thought he was really poor in this game. I thought Larson was bullying him a lot. He was really struggling against him. There were some occasions where he was Larson was back into him. You think Davis has it under control, and he was just getting spun, and he just looks so off his game. This was like the first game, like this season, where I think we've seen Davis obviously not putting some great displays, but all looking like okay, he should be all right if we get him to stay another season. But this game, I was looking like maybe this guy's done, man, because he just couldn't keep up. To be honest, for a lot of it in this game, I felt the second goal didn't cover himself in any glory at all. Fourth goal, I thought completely off the pace. Should be cutting that out. Should be aware of the situation. Cunha went past him like he's not even there. I know Cunha is a very good player, but still, the way he just went past Davis, I wasn't there, was very worrying. And I thought all day, massively struggling, to be honest. So, yeah, I gave him a 3.
Jed Spence, Sim gives him a 4. I gave him a 5. I thought when you're looking at the players across the back four, he was probably the best of the lot, which ain't saying much, to be honest, because the other 3 were just a shambles. But I thought he did keep up some sort of standards, but it was nowhere near kind of the levels that he has been at for the last couple of months. Let's be real. Did score an own goal. Didn't know much about it. Can't really put that down to him. But yeah, I felt like he was getting done a few times.
Yeah, didn't have a great game, to be honest. I thought Jed Spence. I thought you could see he was obviously taking up multiple different positions. He was obviously started on the left, but a few times you could see him popping up on the right, popping up in midfield, all these kind of stuff, which obviously is part of the way we play. But I just felt maybe he was overcomplicating a lot of things because he didn't look entirely comfortable in all different positions. There were moments in the first half I actually thought him and Basuma were linking up quite well, but I think that obviously dissipated quite a bit in the second half, and I think he's tended to really struggle. Obviously, for the defending, didn't cover himself. I don't blame him too much, but obviously he scored the own goal, didn't cover himself much glory in that moment. Not that he can do too much about it, but and the third goal again, not totally his fault, but if he was more alert, maybe he gets back on Larson, but unfortunately he didn't. But I blame Romero more for that. And going forwards, didn't see too much from him, unfortunately, on this occasion. So I gave him a 4.
Bissouma up next, 5s all round for Biss, and actually this was probably one of his better displays this season. That's how bad he's been, but I feel like in the opening 5 to 10 minutes, it was actually a bit shocking from Bissouma. Gets that early yellow card. There were a few misplaced touches and passes, and it looked like he didn't want to be there. But actually, after that, he did grow into the game. He became a little bit of a dominating figure for us in the centre of the park. Had a really good effort on goal, which the keeper made a really good save to dig him out of. But he gets taken off on the hour mark. But I did think he was one of our better players. But again, not really saying much.
Yeah, I think for the first, as you say, first 5 minutes not great, got the booking, but I actually thought for those like the rest of the half, he was actually really good. They struggled to handle him. He was getting past them, he was spinning. He was actually had good awareness about him, and it looked like he was trying to drag us back in the game. Actually, like he was linking up well with Maddison. I thought he was linking up well with Spence, and things were happening when he was getting the ball. So that was positive. But I think that booking kind of hampered him because I thought he didn't start the second half brilliantly, and then when we were looking to make changes, I think we wanted a bit more combativeness in the middle. Because he'd been booked, I think he got hooked. I think if he wasn't on a yellow, because he was making a few fouls, or not like too many bad ones, but if one more foul, maybe it's another booking for persistent fouling and he's off. So I think probably the right decision to take him off, unfortunately for him. But I thought for that half an hour period or 40-minute period in this first half, it was actually probably one of our better players.
Pape Sarr up next, 4s all round for Pape, and just an anonymous display from him in the middle of the park. And, just as I've been kind of praising him that he's kind of creeping back into the season, he's starting to show some good displays. This was a kind of display that we've been accustomed to seeing in the middle part of the season from Sarr, just not impacting anything really, and just really anonymous.
Yeah, poor game. Don't remember too much he did good or bad. I just think I thought he was really dominated from Gomez and Andre. I thought both played really well, actually. And I thought he was really struggling in those duels. So not a great game from him and rightfully hooked.
James Maddison up next, 5s all round for Madders. He was the only one, particularly in the first half, that looked to drive the team forward, any sort of guile or creativity about him. If anything was going to happen, it was always going to come through him. So, I mean, he was our best player in the first half. But again, in the second half, he just completely tired out the game. It looked like he was running on empty a little bit, which is not what you want to see going into a big game on Thursday. When I just don't understand why he started this game. And I guess I understand it to a certain extent because he was the only one that looked like he had any sort of creativity about him. But when you've got a game like we've got on Thursday, and that all season we've kind of hinted away or edged away from playing him twice in a week. Now suddenly he's played 4 games in the space of 2 weeks. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, he's clearly playing a lot more than he had done previously. When before he'd been on the bench for a few games and all this kind of stuff. I don't know. Maybe was he carrying something we didn't know about previously and now he's not? I don't know. I don't know what the ins and outs of it, but he's definitely playing a lot more now than he was. I thought for the first half, again, similar to Basuma, was actually having a really good game. I thought they were struggling to contain him. And I thought Gomez and Andre, he was the one they were worried about because whenever he was getting the ball, he was doing some lovely body feints and he was getting the ball into the final third and doing some really good stuff. Unfortunately, we didn't create too much from it, but it wasn't for the lack of trying. And again, second half struggled, and unfortunately was rightfully taken off when he was. But I think there was definitely signs from recent weeks of Maddison playing a bit better. But yeah, unfortunately in this game, just didn't play well in that second half.
Brennan Johnson, 5s all round for Brennan. I thought actually Brennan was working quite hard throughout the game, definitely trying to play for the shirt. Just the quality wasn't really there. However, he did put in a really nice cross for Tell, but apart from that, it was a lack of quality.
Yeah, got an assist and a decent ball, and I thought he was running in behind a few times, and he linked fairly decent with Gray on a couple of occasions without really doing much. I agree. Didn't really have the quality. He had that one snapshot, didn't he? Turned on the edge of the box on his left foot, but blazed over the bar. There's a number of situations probably could have done a bit better up against Aït-Nouri. But again, he just, unless he's running in a straight line, doesn't really impact the game. And the same thing happened.
Matisse Tell up next. Him gives him a 6. I gave him a 5. And I felt like he was the only one on the pitch that was actually moving about, running about, trying to create space with his effort. He was trying so hard yesterday, Matisse. I just felt like a lot of the times he was in a lot of space and that he created for himself. And we didn't find him anywhere near enough. Obviously, he gets his goal, which is his second goal in as many Premier League games, which is positive, albeit this goal we didn't really know much about. Kind of just hit him and kind of went in. But I thought it was, a step in the right direction for Tell. But still, we need to see a lot more if we're going to spend that kind of money on him.
Yeah, it looked a bit better on the left-hand side, which is a positive. Yeah, it wasn't like a great performance, I would say. He definitely was trying things, and maybe it comes with game time and rhythm where he has that confidence to really take people on and beat them and create chances. I felt a few times he was just a little bit hesitant. He would get the ball and he was like, all right, should I take him or should I not? And then once he decided to, all of a sudden there were players back in position and stuff where if he just gets it and bam, goes at him straight away, I think there's a lot more space for him. And I think the more he hesitated, the harder it was for him. There was a couple of times he chopped inside, took bad touches and nearly lost the ball and put us under pressure. So clearly there's still something lacking there, but I did like the willingness to get on the ball and try, and he always seemed to be an option, which was really, really good. He did want to impact the game, and obviously he got into the box for the goal and a bit of luck with it, but still in the right position, which is not easy to do, and he got his goal. So wasn't like incredible, but was okay. It was decent.
Do you think, I know Ange said Sonny's going to be fine for Thursday, but do you think if he's not, then Tell starts on the left?
Good question. There's a lot of people saying even if Son is fine, Tell should start. But I think Son still starts. But would I start Tell? Would I start Son? I would. It's a tough one. I think I would. You know what? I'd probably start Tell. If Son's got a knock and he's not 100%, I would start him.
Dominic Solanke, the last of the starting 11, gets 4s all round. And yeah, just another kind of poor display where he's dropping deep a lot in search for the ball. Not really a goal threat. He had one shot throughout the game where, he probably should be doing better from. But yeah, I'm just becoming so frustrated with Solanke because he's just not a goal threat at all. I mean, it's just like a carbon copy every week, isn't it? We say he works really hard and there's a severe lack of a goal threat or quality about him. He puts himself about, gives away a lot of fouls. And yesterday he gave away a hell of a lot of fouls. He's just consistently. And, for his first kind of period when he came to us, we were like so pleased with the work rate and the desire that he was showing. And I don't think that's changed. But now the kind of chances that he was missing in that moment, he's not even getting those chances anymore.
Well, I feel like his hold-up play was a lot better earlier in the season.
Yeah, that's true.
I thought it was a much better. He used to get the ball turn and create opportunities, and even if he wasn't scoring, he was impacting the game offensively.
Yeah,
now he's not really impacted the game offensively at all. He's losing the ball. His first touch is completely off it. He seems a lot weaker. He seems to be getting shoved off the ball a lot more. Yes, he's still running and pressing, and that's fine. That he was doing that early in the season, but he's just not impacting the game offensively as much as he was, regardless of goals or no goals. Really. And it's really hard to watch. In fact, I read somewhere that apparently since January, Richarlison's got more Premier League goals than him.
Well, because of the one that he scored yesterday.
Well, Richarlison also scored against Everton, so it's 2.
Oh, it's 2, yeah. Wow.
since Solanke scored that goal against Newcastle. So, you know, is there an uncomfortable conversation about Thursday with him and Rishi potentially?
100%. If Rishi is fine to start, I'd actually start him.
Wow, that'd be a massive call though.
Yeah, I would. Would you not? At least Rishi's like a goal threat. Actually, when you actually look at the stats and the figures, right? Richarlison, when he's fit, actually has a pretty good return.
He probably has a better scoring rate. Yeah, he definitely has a better scoring rate than Solanke.
For sure, goals to minutes ratios. I think Richarlison wipes the floor with Solanke.
Yeah, but you would have said the thing that Solanke has is that hold up play, which Rishi doesn't have as much, but he doesn't really have that at the moment. So. Yeah, maybe there's a good shout to say Richarlison starts, but yeah, Solanke just needs to be doing a lot more. And I understand the work he's putting in. I'm not like angry at him, but he just needs to do so much more because at the moment he's drifting through games. He's not impacting the game like he was, and he's struggling up against centre backs. Whereas earlier this season he seemed to be like really confident, and you could just see like why we bought him. And at the moment, it's we're not seeing that Solanke.
Yeah. Let's move over to the subs. Lucas Bergvall came on the hour mark. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 5. I mean, in terms of like general play, I thought, he played very well. He was driving the team forward straight away. Goes on a really nice drive and plays the ball to Johnson, and that forces the first goal. The second goal, I think he's the one that put in the corner as well. So he had his hand in both the goals that we scored, but I've marked him down because of there's just sheer stupidness. Like how I don't understand what he's doing to give away that fourth goal that basically puts the game beyond all doubt for us. And it's his stupidity and naivety that kind of does that for us.
Yeah, I also marked him down, but I would have given him a 7 if he didn't do that moment. I thought it was another good cameo. Again, another example of him coming on and changing the game for us, adding a bit of energy, adding a bit of tempo. I think he's just, again, it's mad how much we rely on him now, but he's, again, he came on and did really, really well. But that moment for the goal we conceded is just, you can't really explain it. It's just he switched his brain off for a second. I don't know why. I don't know what he's attempting. I don't know why he's attempting what he was attempting. There was no need to do it. He had 4 players around him, and for some reason he decided to dribble into the only Wolves player within a 5-yard radius of him. I just don't understand it. And ends up gifting a goal to Wolves and killing the games. And you could see his reaction after the goal. Like he's like, "What am I doing?" Like he didn't understand himself, I think. But
Vicario went up to him after the game, didn't he? He was like, "Head up, mate, head up."
Yeah, we react to that. But yeah, I'm not going to mark him too harshly because I thought actually his cameo was pretty good apart from that.
Yeah.
But
I do agree. And also, we do have to remember this kid is 18 years of age, and all of a sudden he's like our most important player in the middle of the park. So you've got to give him a lot of credit for what he's done so far in the Spurs show. It's just that one silly moment, isn't it?
Players of his age will make mistakes, and you just got to accept that.
Yeah. Bentancur up next. Sim gives him a 4. I gave him a 5. I think he added a lot of bite into the midfield when he came on, but yeah, I just don't think he added, like, you're looking at, compare that performance on Thursday night to the performance yesterday for Bentancur, and it's just worlds away. I just don't think he impacted much when he came on, just added a bit of bite.
Yeah, I thought he was massively frustrating for me. I was not happy with him whatsoever, to be honest, when he came on. I thought he was just not, he was giving the ball away. He was weak. I thought he wasn't competing with Andre or Gomez in the middle there. I thought he was second best. I thought it was worse than Basuma, to be honest, when he came on. So I was very frustrated with him.
Decky, surprise inclusion in the squad, as Ange said in the press conference that he wasn't going to be part of it, but he was on the bench. He came on. It was great to see him back on the pitch, and I think we give him a 5. 5's all round, by the way. And I think that those minutes kind of, what does he get, 10, 15 minutes in his legs?
I think he came on 72, I think, didn't he?
So maybe 20 minutes in his legs going into Thursday, I think will do him the world of good. He came on and he just ran his heart out, didn't he, for 20 minutes with like, he didn't really impact much, but it was good to see him get a run out.
Yeah, I think it was good to see him. I completely agree with that. Yeah, it didn't look incredible, but I don't think I looked at him and thought, he looks pretty sluggish or off it. I think he looked like he wanted to impact the game and he was trying. I can't remember too much he actually did when it comes to creation and stuff. I thought we looked a bit better in the final third in terms of combinations and stuff, because you can just see he gets on the ball and he keeps it, and instead of just giving it away like some of the other players. So that was good. Be interesting to see whether he starts on Thursday or not. I'm sure Ange will be desperate to start him. But yeah, it was just great to see him back in the squad and back in the team.
Yeah. And last but not least of the playing staff, Richarlison, 6s all round for Richie. Obviously gets his goal, which was, probably harder to score than harder to miss than score. But he was there, right place, right time, puts the ball in the back of the net. And that's pretty much all he did.
Yeah, got the goal. Yeah, I don't know how many. Was that his only touch of the game, potentially? I don't remember too many touches he had, Richie.
He had 7 touches.
7 touches. Just in the right place at the right time. Poacher's effort and gets another goal. So hopefully I'll boost his confidence. We might need him for Thursday.
Yeah. Ange Postecoglou, Sim gives him a 4. I gave him a 3. And, I hear the kind of argument saying that, he can't account for these individual errors that these players are making, which is true. Like, in that kind of sentiment, it's definitely true. However, he's the manager and it's his job to get these players up for these kind of games, even though they don't mean much. His job is still riding on from now to the end of the season. Obviously, it's a lot more on Thursday than it will be a game against Wolves. And if we do win it on Thursday, then this game against Wolves, no one's really going to care about. But we can only judge on what we're seeing right now. And to lose 4-2 against Wolves is embarrassing. It really is embarrassing. And the level of application that these players are showing on the pitch is completely embarrassing as well. And the buck has to stop with the manager. It's not the first time we've seen kind of these tendencies in these players. And it's up to him to galvanize the troops and get them ready for each and every game. And 17 losses in a season, I just can't get away from that number. It's something I've never seen before being a Spurs fan. And you've got to be doing a better job as a manager as kind of motivating these players to get through games. And he's just not doing that at the moment.
Yeah, completely agree. And the Premier League form's not improving. The performances are more and more shocking. I had a bit of sympathy for him just in this specific game because, again, first of all, he was quite proactive with his subs. And it just seemed as though, again, every time we were looking like we were going to get into the game and we were going to start to dominate and gain some momentum, we just shoot ourselves in the foot. And a lot of the time, it wasn't like we got caught out because we're too high up or anything. It was just like Romero has the ball and he passes it to Nuri. Like Bergvall has it and he just gives it to Cunha. Like that's not really a setup issue, but it's not like we haven't had setup issues throughout the season. We've had plenty of them. So, it's only so much your sympathy can go. Like I didn't like after the game, when your team's played like that. And I understand what he's saying, and I don't think he's completely wrong with what he said, but that's not what the fans want to hear at that point when you've just been beaten 4-2 to Wolves and the team have just been making screw up after screw up, and you're coming out saying, yeah, but we played well and all, we were in the game and stuff like that. It's like it's not what we want to hear ahead of a massive game on Thursday. You want to hear that we're going to be much better. You want to hear that it wasn't good enough because that's what we expect. We expect much better. So I didn't like what he was saying after the game, although I kind of understand there was probably some truth to it. This specific game, the mistakes we made were very specifically individual errors rather than like someone losing their man from a corner or Tottenham getting caught too high up the pitch because the fullback's been flying forward because that's what he's asked them to do. It was quite different to those kind of mistakes. But, mistakes, we're still making way too many mistakes. And whether they're individual or they're tactical or whatever, the constant is mistakes. And that's reality at the moment. And that's what happened again. And for him to say as well, it's unusual for us to make those kind of mistakes. I mean, did he watch the Bournemouth game? Like, the one a few weeks ago where we were constantly, Romero just passing it to Bournemouth players at the beginning of the game and we were giving them free shots at goal. Like, it's not that unusual. So I don't know what he's been watching, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, looking at the performance yesterday, I can't see that the players are fighting tooth and nail for him with the situation that we've been in. The excuse of the injuries and stuff is completely dried out because we're pretty much at full strength, barring 1 or 2. And he's lost the players and he's most definitely lost the majority of the fans as well. I think the majority of the fans, the sentiment in the away end is basically just like, how's he still in a job? And just waiting for him to go, basically. I think that's what it feels like at the moment.
But as long as he's in the Europa League, I think he'll still be in a job.
Yeah. Thursday is do or die. That's what it is. But
and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, well, we'll see if you're still fine with it after Thursday.
I'm saying I'm fine with it as long as we're still in Europa League. That's what I mean.
Yeah. All right, well, that is our player ratings, and we're going to finish off seeing how the internet did react to the game yesterday. And Adam Nathan says plans for the hotel remain unaffected, and this was in reply to Matt Law saying Tottenham have been forced to put transfer plans for this summer on hold amid the double uncertainty over the head coach Ange Postecoglou and whether the club will be competing in Europe next season.
Yeah, you know what? I really don't like that sentiment. Like, in terms of that, we have to put on hold our plans to know what we're doing with the coach and stuff. I understand that you plan ahead for the next season, and sometimes you can maybe make signings early and stuff like that. Maybe by now you're already starting to talk to players about plans for next season. And I understand that right now with Ange still here, and we don't know if he's going to be here next season. And also the main thing I think is, well, we don't know whether we're going to be in Europe next season. So it's hard to kind of make those contacts with players ahead of that because they don't know if you're in Europe and all that kind of stuff. But you're a big £1 billion club, like you should be making contingency plans. You should be making plans for every eventuality. You should be planning for Ange being here. You should be planning for Ange not being here. That should all be in your thinking right now. So all this we're putting on hold as if like you're just sitting there like folding up your arms, waiting to see what happens on the pitch before you do anything. Like you have to have some forward planning. Like you can't. That's not an excuse. Like you should be able to have contingencies. You should be with the hierarchy, everyone together, like thinking it through, rather than just like sitting on your hands and knees thinking, well, we can't do anything until we know what's happening next season. We don't know what's happening until we know, how the Europa League or whatever turns out. Like that shouldn't be how you plan things.
Yeah, 100%. And this club has always had that kind of lack of foresight and planning. We've had it for years, and it feels like we're just in limbo at the moment. We don't know whether we're coming or going. We don't know whether this manager is going to be here next season, whether he's going to be here by the end of the season, we don't know anything about this football club, and it just feels like everything is just consistently a mess, and it's just getting more messier and messier and messier as the years progress.
But as the tweet said, plans for a hotel remain unaffected. So
of course
we'll have somewhere nice to stay on match days.
Thank you very much, Daniel. James Wellham says Spurs have now lost more league games this season, which is 17, than Poch lost in 3 seasons from 2015 to 2018. That was 16 losses over the course of those 3 seasons.
I think this season's also a massive lesson though as well. Like first of all, that is pretty crazy, but obviously that's the best we've ever been in the Premier League. Yeah. But it's a massive lesson in terms of how bad things can get, and as you say, we're not so far off the relegation zone at the moment. And obviously, we're not going to go get relegated this season, but it's a lesson in terms of you thinking that you're too big to be in this situation, and clearly we're not. And I think maybe because even when we've had bad seasons in recent years, we've still been maybe either fighting for Europe or whatever. Usually, even when we had a terrible season, even at this point, we're fighting for Europe. Yeah. When we finished 8th under Conte and we missed out on Europe completely, we were still in that European fight up until late.
I mean, if we would have finished like 6th or 7th this season, people would have looked at it as a terrible season.
Would have been, still would have been disappointing, sure.
You know what I mean? And we're close to 17th.
Yeah. So, but I think what I'm saying is like it's a lesson that we're not too big to be in this situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think I think the club have kind of felt like we are, and we're just not.
Yeah, 100%. And maybe the club have always taken for granted. I mean, maybe it's just a lesson of like how much Harry Kane actually did for us, because I think we were talking about it the other day, like with all these 1-goal deficits that we've had this season, if Harry Kane was at the club, a lot of those would have been turned into draws or wins.
And especially with Son declining as well. Yeah,
Harry Kane was such a big figure for us and got us out of the mud consistently, time and time again, with his just sheer ability. And not only that, but work rate and giving a shit for the team consistently. Like, we just took it for granted how good he actually was. And maybe we took it for granted about saying, like, a lot of people were saying, we're never going to be able to replace him. However, we never thought it could get this bad without him.
Yeah, and as well, we were saying at the time, put the Pochettino, we massively took that for granted. Massively. We said it at the time, he normalised overachievement, and it's never not more true than right now. Look at the state of us, and that's the reality, I think, of this club right now in terms of where we're heading. So we just need to get our shit in order because it hasn't been in order for a while.
You look at every era though, like since Pochettino. Forget the Pochettino one, right? But look at the Jose Mourinho one, the Antonio Conte one. Without Harry Kane, it probably would have been very similar to this.
100%, 100%. I agree with that. If we had, I agree. It probably would have been not too dissimilar.
Yeah. Football Confidential says Vicario and Bergvall. What's going on here, do you think? I mean, it's quite clear what's going on here. Bergvall made a big mistake, and Vicario's going up to him saying, keep your chin up, mate, but in a very aggressive manner.
I agree. This is probably his Italian kind of nature. But I see a lot of people criticising Vicario. I think I saw a lot of one thing that I was getting a lot of likes saying, "Oh, classic Vicario digging out the younger players like he did early in the season." I'm like, that's not what's going on here. He's clearly trying to give him a confidence boost. I know, like you can see Bergvall trying to get away, so maybe it looks like he's criticised. He's not. He's clearly just trying to tell him to keep your chin up, basically.
Yeah, that's just a fiery Italian mentality. That's just what it is, and I'd much rather see that from a leader in the camp than what Romero did and just walk straight down the tunnel. At least he actually gives a shit about these younger players coming through at this club, and he goes straight over to Bergvall at the final whistle. Romero don't give a shit. He just walks straight down the tunnel.
Yeah.
No context Tottenham.
That'll be our badge soon.
Yeah.
It won't be too long.
Yeah, 100%. Paddy Power tweeted out saying Liverpool can confirm the title with 3 more wins, which means they can win the title against Tottenham. That'll be the most Spurs fans celebrated all season.
It would be the biggest thing we've done all season. Should we do what? We're obviously going to do a watch along for it, but watch along for the title celebrations.
100%. Men in Blazers says Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. This is a meme, says, I love you, but you are not serious people. I don't know where that means.
That's from Succession.
Succession.
Yeah, very funny. It's good stuff. He's talking to his children.
I see. Joe Cole with a quote yesterday brought from Talk THFC saying, if Tottenham don't beat Frankfurt, you'd imagine that Ange Postecoglou will get the sack. However, I don't believe that Ange is the problem at Tottenham. It's the clarification of who they are and where they want to go, and that comes from the top, and that comes from Daniel Levy. I mean, I do believe, I agree with that, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think...
I don't agree with that Ange isn't a problem. I do think he's a problem, but I don't think he's the problem.
Yeah. I just think at the moment, just the whole thing is just... we've always said Levy doesn't know what we want to be, and he's always just jumping.
I think he does know what he wants to be. He wants to be a multi-billion pound
he's got
industry that shits money. That's what he wants to be.
He's got that.
Yeah.
But on the pitch, we say he doesn't know what he wants to be.
He wants to be a club that finishes in the Champions League spots. That's what he wants to be.
He's not acting like it.
No. Kane from the Lane says Levy and a lot of Tottenham fans are in massive shock next season when the next manager doesn't have Kane to bail him out. Our team has holes. Our squad isn't good. It's been like that for ages. Kane and Son paper over the cracks, and now they're being exposed. And that's basically what we were saying before, right? Absolutely spot on that. And I don't know about if next season we're in for a real shock. We had that shock this season.
I'm not sure how much, unless you're saying we're going to get relegated next season. This doesn't get much more of a shock than what it is. Well, I hope so anyway. You never know.
A lot of Spurs fans predicted us on the back of last season finishing 5th to finish in the top 4 this season. And now we're like 6th, wherever we are, 15th, 16th, wherever we are, 2 points off 17th. I mean, if that's not the biggest shock to the system, I don't know what is.
Yeah, it should be. You'd like to think that doesn't get much more shocking than that.
Yeah. Clinical Kai says, actually kills me how Tottenham are 17th with the 3rd most goals scored in the league. I mean, that is just nuts, isn't it? Has that ever happened in the history of the Premier League?
Surely not. I can't think of... I'm trying to think of a team who were like scored loads of goals but were near the bottom. I can't think off the top of my head like a team like that. Usually
what about that year that Kevin Phillips got Golden Boot?
That was like in the 2000s.
Yeah.
99, 2000.
Was it for Sunderland or who was it for?
Yeah, it was for Sunderland. That was like 99, 2000. I mean, I doubt they were the third top goal scorers in the league.
No, I doubt third.
They finished
Oh,
seventh.
they finished seventh.
I don't know. It's never really. I don't think it's ever happened. Usually, if you score loads of goals, you're going to be near the top. But
Yeah.
not for Spurs, I guess.
It's madness. I've never seen anything like this in my life. Third top goal scorers in the league and 2 points off 17.
It's nuts.
Only Tottenham, man.
Mm-hmm.
Only Tottenham. Eurofoot says Ryan Ait-Nouri makes history by scoring Wolves' fastest goal in the Premier League history. It took him just 85 seconds to score against Tottenham. All these records always come against Tottenham.
we like breaking records.
No context, Tottenham. The bat signal coming for Ryan Mason.
Is that Brian? I thought Brian Daigle puts out the bat signal. Brian Daigle's bat signal.
God. Spurs Army says, here it is, Christian Romero walking straight down the tunnel at Molineux after this afternoon's 4-2 defeat against Wolves. Some captain.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
No, it is disgusting. When you're, especially when you're wearing that captain, look, even if you're not, but especially that you are, the focus is going to be on you.
Yeah.
And the fact that you just, full-time whistle goes, you go straight down the tunnel. This guy, he wants out. He's going to go on to bigger things, go to Atletico, go to where they can challenge for big things. He just looks at this club. Look, it shouldn't be a massive surprise how he feels because he said it, didn't he? He said it in the media when he said, "This club don't buy big players. You look at the teams above us, and they all sign big players to challenge again. In this club, we don't do that." And obviously, that's him signaling his frustration with the whole situation. And so it's no surprise that he's there frustrated. Oh, there's Ange. So he's clapping.
Oh. I didn't see him. He's very far away, isn't he?
Yeah. Or is it smart for him to go too near the away fans right now?
I mean, the away fans were pretty receptive to the players that came over. I didn't hear any booing on the final whistle. It was all clapping for some reason.
Okay.
No context. Tottenham tweeted out this Matt Doherty, the classic Matt Doherty meme with a Wolves goal, 1 minute 30
4
seconds
goals
in.
probably.
Yeah. Charlie Parrish says Spurs need a coach who can organise a team and build a culture, not a culture where it's about players having a lovely time or where a vice captain can visibly check out. I want good players caring about the club and winning. The Poch group cared about what people said about us.
Yeah, and it's true. You got Dyer. Remember that Dyer moment where he said, people say Spursy, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
Do we have that mentality right now?
No.
We just don't. We have people like Romero who's wants out, who's sick of the club. Like, this is what I was saying to I can't remember who it was, but I was like, people talk about playing for the manager, and that's a fair question. But at what point do you start thinking about in the dressing room, are people really playing for this club? You know what I mean? Are they sick of what this club has become?
Yeah.
And is that a conversation about players just getting frustrated with whatever manager comes in, like the direction the club is going? And
100%.
And like no one really questions that. It's always like, are they paying for the manager? Because I guess it is the manager's responsibility, which is true, to get them to up for games and stuff, and that's absolutely right. But when it keeps happening with multiple managers, is it like, at what point are they playing for this club?
Yeah, no, it's definitely 100%. It's true, but also the reality of what you said is like Ange Postecoglou, the way we're sitting in the league right now, it's hard for any player to kind of believe in what they're doing when you just consistently lose week in, week out, 17 losses.
Absolutely.
No, but I agree with what you're saying. Like Romero's been here through the Nuno, the Conte, and now the Ange Postecoglou. And the main thing that's held us back is the hierarchy and how they manage this football club.
Mm-hmm.
And, players are going to come out and talk about it. They have come out and talk about it. But even if you cannot show what Romero showed when he's got the captain's armband on, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? Like, why is Ange giving him the captain's armband if this is what like the traits he's showing? I just don't get it.
But if the players are having these conversations internally, like in the dressing room about where the club is, the higher the frustration, same frustrations the fans are going, and the fans are saying, like there are some fans saying, "Oh, it doesn't matter what manager comes in, it's all going to fail. It's all it's rotten from the top." Then like, would it make sense that the players get completely disillusioned with things, and then you get things like we saw yesterday.
Yeah. But you still got to show some respect for the fans.
100%.
No matter what your feelings are towards the club, towards them, it doesn't matter.
But maybe they're believing what the fans are saying. Maybe that's a problem.
Well, I don't know. But it's true what the fans are saying.
I know, but the problem is if the players believe it, then they get disillusioned.
But do they believe it because the fans are saying it, or they believe it because they're in the four walls of it and actually know what's going on more than the fans?
Regardless, it's still a problem.
Yeah, of course, it's a massive problem. It's a massive problem, and that's why there's protests against the board.
I know, but I'm just saying, if what the fans is saying is true, which obviously we think it is, and the players also not agree with that sentiment. But you don't want the players to agree with it. That's the thing, because you want them to believe that there's something better, that they can achieve what they want to at this football club. But you've got the fans constantly telling them that they can't. You've got
the fans are the problem.
I'm not saying that the fans are the problem. I'm just saying that there is there. I'm asking the question: is there an issue there with the fans basically constantly telling the players you're never going to achieve anything here?
I mean, I don't think it's
and
the
then
fans
they
saying
get
you're never going to achieve anything here. They're within the four walls. They know exactly what's going on.
Correct.
It's nothing to do with the fans saying you're never going to achieve anything. They know full well what they're going to achieve here. They know full well what's going on within the four walls of the club. So it's got nothing. The fans,
but they clearly see what fans say and stuff, because we've seen that.
Mm-hmm.
With Johnson leading social media, whatever. We've seen they do see what the fans say.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's the fans' fault. I'm just saying there's this whole culture at the moment, which is clear around Tottenham. This whole narrative about that's very big right now with the protests, the hierarchy. We've seen players even talk about it themselves.
Yeah.
But maybe that sentiment has seeped into the dressing room. I'm saying of this is Tottenham. It's rotten from top to bottom. The problems are hierarchy, all this kind of stuff. We're never going to achieve anything, and that leads to players like Romero and other players being disillusioned.
But let's be real, like even when things were good under Pochettino, players were coming out and saying similar things. So, and the noise from the fans wasn't anywhere near as loud as it is now. So unless something changes from the top, nothing's ever going to change. That's the reality, no matter what the fans say. Next up, we've got Pro Tottenham saying Vicario is so overhyped, I swear. Mistake after mistake after mistake, and some of you say he should be club captain because he shouts a lot. I actually think Kinski is just as good a goalkeeper as Vic, and he's about 6 years younger. I mean, I don't think many people were saying this a few weeks ago. A few weeks ago, everyone was
2 days ago, probably.
Yeah, but even more so a few weeks ago, because I think these kind of erratic performances have creeped in over the last couple of weeks. I think a few weeks ago, we were all saying, look how good he's been since coming back from injury. One of the leading goalkeepers in the Premier League with the caliber of performance that he's showing. So I do think Vicario is a very good goalkeeper, but I don't know what's been going on with him last couple of weeks. It really has been starting to get a bit shambolic from him.
Well, it's just the Chelsea game in this game, really. I can't remember too many other games he's been that bad. And even in the Chelsea game, he was shaky, but he didn't make too many massive errors. But he was shaky for sure.
Yeah.
But it was just more this game. This game, he was shambles for sure. I agree with that. But to say off the back of that, he's overhyped and Kinski's better, and I don't agree with that whatsoever.
If only we could just merge these two keepers together. Have Vicario's shot stopper with Kinski's on-the-ball ability. And you're probably looking at one of the best keepers in the world. Johnny Blaine says 4 minutes 56 seconds between 2-1 and 3-1. 1 minute and 40 seconds between 3-2 and 4-2.
So in total, what is that? Because those were fantastic, the best moments of the game. Those about 7 minutes, 6 minutes.
God, it's ridiculous.
It was bliss. Those 6 minutes were bliss.
I don't know about bliss, because even then we still weren't drawing. Tetrunk says there is absolutely nothing to this football other than pretend we're trying something, then knock it out wide and try across it. We've watched exactly the same game time and time again since last Christmas. Am I mental? How are we still here? And it's kind of not too dissimilar to how I feel, to be honest.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's hard to argue. We've been doing very similar things, and the same things have been happening for a while. It's not. You're not mental to Trunk.
Ben Bowman says Mason in for Thursday. This has to end now. You can blame it on individual errors today all you want, but that shouldn't disguise from the fact that Ange should be gone. We are an absolute mess. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was saying on the fan show yesterday. Just get this guy out, man. James Moore says Spurs have 43 points from 38 games, which puts you 14th average over the last 10 Premier League seasons. They may actually need to cling to that stat because it's certainly not impossible that the team don't get 43 points or finish as high as 14th this season.
Yeah, it's probably true, to be honest. We're probably going to be lower by the looks of things. But if we finish low and win Europa League, no one's going to care that much.
Yeah, no context Tottenham. What shape is that? Of what country is that?
I don't know. Russia, maybe? It's a big country. Yeah, usually showing a lot of space there.
It's just ridiculous, isn't it? It's just madness. What are our players doing at this moment?
I don't know. I haven't to see the whole clip, but it doesn't look great, that moment. But obviously, I don't think they created a chance from this, luckily. But
still,
yeah,
a better team would have.
Probably.
George Achilles says, convinced we are in the Matrix and anyone that's a Spurs supporter is a social experiment. I mean, I pretty much see these tweets week in, week out.
Maybe we are a social experiment.
Lily White Rose says, just the 4 mistakes leading to a goal then?
Just the 4. Just the 4 this time. Oh, God.
A bit of positivity here from this tweet. Lily White Rose showing some fan reaction to Ashley Phillips' performance on the weekend for Stoke. And 1863 Extra says, don't think Spurs fans realise what a player they have in Ashley Phillips. The player at the start of the season to now is ridiculous improvement. Absolutely beast of a centre-half who is going to go far. Next one from Joe Howard says, Ashley Phillips is the best centre-half we've had since Shawcross and Huth era. Bloke is mustard. Reese says, Ashley Phillips, you absolute king. The best defensive performance of the season by a long mile. Future England star. And Wayne Thomas says, Ash, you were fantastic today again, mate. What a performance. And those last 10 minutes, I thought there were actually 3 Ashley Phillips playing as you were everywhere. This is great to see, isn't it?
And also look at the one one reply to that, the one down. No. Yeah. That tweet and the first reply. Yeah, that one.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, just click one. Yeah, go to the last picture, or no, the one before that. Sorry, this one. Yeah, Maldini has Ashley Phillips posters on his wall. What a player Spurs have on their hands.
Apparently, I was reading as well that he's seemed to have got a lot faster this season, which is a big positive.
It's great. Well, at least there's something positive.
Yeah,
and also Donnelly got a goal. Solomon got a goal and
assist.
assist.
I think I did like them, so maybe we'll go through it. But it doesn't look like I have. Maybe I did it on the wrong account by mistake. But Ashley Phillips was getting a lot of praise. Donnelly was getting a lot of praise. And there was another. And Yang Min Hyuk scored again. He's really starting.
Not yesterday. That was a few days ago.
Yeah, that was a few days ago. But he's starting to get to grips with life at QPR and getting regular contributions.
And Solomon goal and assist.
Solomon got a brilliant goal on the weekend. I mean, what a goal that was from Solomon.
And Vuskovic, I think, had another good game.
I mean, they're all playing well away from Tottenham.
Just not at Tottenham.
Yeah. But that is how the internet did react to the game yesterday. Another disaster class from Tottenham Hotspur. And I think that is all we have for you today. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. At least over the next couple of days, we'll get to gear up for the big game on Thursday and just pray and hope. And to any God that you believe in, maybe just try all of them all at one go and see whichever one sticks. Because
one of them will work.
Exactly. At least hopefully you'd think one of them would work. So we just need to get that win on Thursday and maybe a bit of calmness in this fan base can be restored.
We just need with this club, this fan base needs some sort of positivity. We just need this dark cloud to we just need the torrential rain just to like slow down a bit, just
a little bit,
turn it into like light rain just for a weekend, please. We've just been battered and bruised. We're drenched in embarrassment and so much this season. Oh God. Just let up, please, this terrible weather.
Yeah.
But sun's coming around. Come on.
We'll see you all tomorrow for some more content, guys. But thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.